Welcome, brothers, welcome, sisters, welcome to our program on time. And as usual, as soon as we start this program, you can pick up the telephone and give us a call. We never have a subject matter. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything: politics, religion, socio-economic issues, or any topical issue of the day. Or we also entertain your subject matter. So you can pick up the telephone and give us a call, and you speak about anything you want to speak. Today is a pretty interesting day in our program. The last time we were here, we were under a new government. We were under the old government. Today, we have a new government. We have a government that won the election 9 seats. Obviously, it might have been a surprise to some members of the NNP that they lost the election. I believe the biggest winner in this election is the electoral process. The electoral process in Grenada took a battering. People started to say that they had jerseys with money in it. People say people were bribed. Some people said they went to Haiti. Election in Grenada is free, it is fair, and it is free from fear. And all over the years, the election in Grenada has been free. When you lose election, you lose election. There is no need for you to be behaving like a cry baby and claiming that the election was not fair. And I think this is the biggest winner. The democratic system provides an opportunity for people to choose the government of their choice. The electoral process in Grenada gives you that opportunity. We must have confidence in ourselves. We must have confidence in our people. And we must have confidence in the institutions that we have. If we tear down those institutions, if we run down those institutions, what do we expect? And this is the challenge that we have here. And I constantly advocate that people must have confidence in what we have. Speak the truth about the system. No government, no political party that lost election since 1984 have had enough evidence to challenge it in court. The politicians know the system is good, but they give the impression. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome. Go right ahead, caller. From the radio, but not from Thank you very much. Yes, the electoral process in this country, I think, must be winner in the process. It is not easy for you to have a process that is good, and because politicians lose election, they challenge the process when they know the process is good. It is quite true. You have a call on the line? It is quite true that losing election and losing all the seats on 3 occasions could have you bazoed. But that is no reason, no justification to damn the system. I believe the people who are involved in the electoral process, the people who are involved in the different political polling stations, the agents of the different political parties must speak up and tell their friends, their family members, and the public in general. I was there in the polling station. We had 300 people, names on the polling book, on the list. Out of that 200 and something come and vote. Nobody could steal the election in the polling division where I work. It is free and it is fair. I was there. That is what would be responsible for the integrity of the electoral process. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome. Outside of Grenada, people respect the political process that we have. But when a political party loses election, they tend to have all things to say about the electoral process. I am very happy that this time the NNP lost the election, winning 6 seats. And I have not heard so far statements from them questioning the electoral process. I think it's very, very important. If we're going to move forward as a people, the time has come for us to respect the institutions. Some people, when they are in opposition, they run up all the institutions in this country. When they're in government, they're trying to claim that the institutions is good. And that is when sometimes I look for independent thinkers and people who do not openly flaunt political parties to speak up. That is the time I look for journalists. But it's quite true, it's difficult because most of our journalists in Grenada are associated with political parties. They only claim neutrality. They are agents for the political parties. So they themselves does not want to present the information or the news. They put their own twist on it. And that is why Malcolm X warned us that the fourth estate, or that which we call journalists, could make an innocent man guilty and a guilty man innocent. So today I believe should be a turning point in people's confidence and attitude to the electoral process in Grenada. It is above board. It is free. It is fair. The integrity of it is not in question. There will always be some incidents or some issues that come up, but it is not enough to change the decision or affect the decision of any constituency. For instance, somebody may reach in a polling station late, and you may have a build-up of people. You could have instances where one of the presiding officer of the poll clock gets seriously sick the morning and could cause them to start up not as smooth as possible. But the process in Grenada is without question a free process. And I would like politicians to discontinue the practice of damning what we have. I will really like that. And I think one of the group of people who needs to start to defend the integrity of the electoral process is definitely the workers in it. Some of our lawyers, sometimes it breaks my heart when I hear even our lawyers jump on the political bandwagon and damning the system. You hear all kind of thing about Grenada electoral system. The system is good. I'm not saying it is perfect, but there are no issues in it that would tamper with the result. In 1976, prior to 1984, Winston White lost election by 1 vote, irrespective of how much time they check, 1 vote. George Prime in Carriacou lost election by 6 votes. He made all kind of monkey that he was taken to the matter to the court. It never reached. I think the gentleman in Guave, St. John, also lost by 7 votes. Nothing has changed. And it tells you that our process, our electoral process, is good and it is fair. I have always said there's a lot we have going good for us in Grenada, but we lack confidence in ourselves. Our biggest challenge in Grenada is the mentality that we have, and lack of confidence in ourselves. And if we could change that, you would shock to know how fast we will prosper in every sense of the word. I have watched so many Grenadians leave this country and go because they did not have confidence in ourselves and our system. They did not have confidence. We are a small country. 110,000 people. If we check hard, we could go and sit down inside Guyana. If Grenada fall in Guyana and there was no communication, they may look for us years and not find us. And we have to come to that conclusion. That is the reason I always use comparability. I encourage our listeners on Target to compare Grenada with Dominica, St. Vincent with the Windward Islands. And when we use comparability with the Windward Islands, we always use Barbados. We have a call on the line? We have a call on. Okay. We have a slide. We have a call on the line? Okay. All right. So we always use Grenada and we do some comparisons with the Windward Islands and other, maybe Barbados. Whenever we have a caller? No. Okay. We always use Grenada with the Windward Islands, and then we use Barbados as a comparison. But in recent times, I have been comparing with the region, and I've said many times, and you will hear me continue to say that on the radio, that where electricity, water, telephone, and the internet is concerned, in terms of access, over 90% of our people has that. And I'm being conservative when I say 90%. You know, we have to prepare to give our country a fair deal. When we sit down and we chastise our people mercilessly, remember, the young ones are listening in our homes and they become very negative. Some of them believe they got dead just now. They believe they're living in the worst country in the world because the elder ones are conveniently chastising our country. So now that we have a new government coming power, we have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome. But we're not, yeah. We have a slight, caller, welcome. Okay, maybe that is a time to read some of the comments on Facebook. We have seems to have a slight technical with receiving the calls. So one person saying, blessed afternoon to all you who are viewing, God bless you and be strong. And so principally greetings, good afternoon, happy Monday, good afternoon. And a number of people indicate that they're watching. They're still not getting the calls through my phone. But basically this morning, because we have a new government in place. When we have a new government start, there's always challenge. But I'm saying I'm very glad, I'm very happy this morning that we seems to settle the issue of the electoral process once and for all. I've not heard anybody blame the electoral process in Grenada for the loss of the political party. And I've not heard members of the NNP blaming the electoral process. The election before, we had a number of people blaming the electoral process. And this is good. And I'm saying this is a right start. And I'm challenging the people who are involved in the electoral process. You know the truth. You was there. You saw the effectiveness of the process. I remember Mr. Millet pointing out to them, obey the law. That's all you have to do. Obey the law. He was encouraging the presiding officers and poll clerks. All you have to do, obey the law. The instructions are so well spelled out. Both the agents on both political parties were trained by the electoral process. And they did a very good job. So in Grenada, whoever won the election won fair and square. And whoever lost the election lost fair and square. And as we move on, politicians, behave yourselves. Stop criticizing the electoral process. In fact, I think it's a good thing for the politicians to make the Grenadians and the world know that the electoral process in Grenada is free and is fair. This gentleman saying, Mr. Elvis Moraine, the supervisor of election, Ferdinand Philip and Paul Millet, had done a wonderful job. I didn't even remember the name. So, Mr. Nigel John, I'm very happy with you. This gentleman did an outstanding job as previous individuals. But we must have confidence in the system. And the people who are involved in the different constituencies, presiding officers, poll clerk, and the NNP agent and the NDC agent, you must speak loud and clear. I'm disappointed in our journalists. Even if you are political agents, you should go and speak to different poll clerks and presiding officers and ask them about the electoral process. Because you media people, you are some of the group that is rolling down our country. Some of you want to be reputable journalists while you're playing games. You are the ones who say, no, the process is good, or this presiding officer in this constituency is confident about the process. If we get that settled, You wouldn't have all this pulling here and pulling there in Grenada. We tear down the system. We run down the medical health system. I remember before the previous NNP had 215 seats. They was questioning the medical system. They went there. NDC tear down the medical system. I could never forget Ann Peters. And when she reached there, she tried she best the cabinet move her from health. They say you're giving us too much trouble. They move her from health. Our health system is much better than we've been saying. We've been politicizing. The worst thing to do in a country. We should not be politicizing the health system. So you make our people lose confidence in the health system. And some of our private doctors glad. Because if you run down the St. George's Hospital, and you run down the Princess Alice Hospital, and you run down the clinics, the private doctors go make more money. Because all Grenadians who feel they have money, they go to private doctors, and they run down the system. Some of them even go to private clinics, and when water more than floor, they run in the general hospitals. They don't tell you that doctors that operate in the general hospitals are permitted to use the facilities free. They don't tell you that. They would never tell you that. They chastise our health system and they dilute its effectiveness. And in the same way, the electoral process, we need to stop that. And you have a caller on the line? Yes, caller. Go right ahead. Okay. We have a slight difficulty. It could be on our end. So it's a slight difficulties. It could be on our end. Once we hear you, we would let you speak. But we're not hearing you. So we're going to continue to speak. And if at any time, Facebook is clear. Yes. Somebody asking if the phone lines are working now. We still have a slight challenge with the phone line. Maybe a slight technicalities. So, Mr. Nigel John, I'm sorry I can't get you on, but as soon as the phone line is working. Yes, caller. Let me hear you now, caller.
The people in the station.
Yeah. I'm hearing you.
I can't hear you. Cutting up.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what I'm saying is, I know if on air now.
You on air?
I can't enjoy what you're saying because you keep breaking up the station, so
the station breaking up.
You know? Well, I would have to call you another day then probably, when the thing coming over good man.
Okay, you said the station breaking up. But they hear me on Facebook. So we will try and get that corrected. And I'm basically speaking now, and I decided to speak about the electoral process today. And Mr. Elvis Morin, the supervisor of election, Ferdinand Philip, and Paul Millet. These people involved in the electoral process are generally public officers. They are generally public officers. Caller? Yes, caller, welcome.
every time. They come the time where we that we last race. But they need to do more in a reflect, realize, and accomplish. Then time.
Yes, scholar. Yes, that is important. So, if the system is good and you lose election, don't blame the system. You lose election. We for over 5 years on the radio and social media, people been accusing governments of going in Haiti, which is so sad and unfortunate. Haiti take a battering from the colonial government, and we in the Caribbean continue to batter Haitians. You have a number of issues that went on radio about Obia. You know, all this because people do not want to respect the electoral system. Our system is fairer than United States of America. It is better than the English system. It is above board. The integrity of the system is intact. And I believe the only people to start to help to build up the confidence in the system is the people who are involved directly in the process. And that is presiding officers, poll clerk, and agents of the two different political parties. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre, your line giving real trouble, so I don't get specialist, I don't get what Northern Color see. So
the line giving a lot of trouble.
I'll talk to you next day, right?
Okay, my brother, thank you. So it appears that they're having some difficulties hearing it on the radio. The line giving trouble, but we're functioning on Facebook, and people are hearing it on Facebook. So you're hearing it good on your session. Right, so that's a slight challenge, unless you play it a little louder. We have another caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Good day, Mr. Pierre. How are you doing?
Great, man.
Yeah, and good afternoon to your listeners, the viewers on Facebook, and the general public. Mr. Pierre, I heard you was making mention about the fairness of election, and I just want to add a bit.
About
the fairness and the result.
Yeah.
I think that, first of all, let me congratulate the NDC and the current Prime Minister of Grenada on us.
You could speak a little louder for me, or you could raise up his...
Yes.
Okay.
I'm saying congratulations, first of all, to the current Prime Minister and the NDC government, yeah? Mr. Pierre, I think that the people that are heading the Parliamentary Election Office, PO, at this time, for instance, the Supervisor of Election, Mr. Morin, I had to deal with him in and out in a few months, and I think he's doing a very wonderful job. The gentleman is smart, he knows what he's about, and he's doing a very good job there as Supervisor of Election. Also my schoolmate, Michael Millet. I think I knew him as Paul Millet, but I think his name is Michael Millet from up Grenville. That young man who is the system administrator is also doing a very wonderful job. And last but not least, I need to mention also Mr. Ferdinand Phillips. He's on top of the game as well. I had contact with them. I was dealing with them. And they are doing very well there, Mr. Pierre. So I think the election was a fair election, and I think it was okay. Mr. Pierre, last thing. When you look at the results, Mr. Pierre, NDC had got 31,430 votes. NMP have gotten 28,959 votes, Mr. Pierre. In terms of percentage, NDC had got 51.84%, and NMP got 47.76%. The reason I'm making this point, Mr. Pierre, when you look at the electorate and the populace that vote, they are close in terms of numbers. The difference is 2,471 votes that make the difference between the two parties. So I'm talking here, I'm saying to say that we need to unite. We need national reconciliation at this time, Mr. Pierre. We should separate our yellow and green at this time, Mr. Pierre. And last thing I want to comment on, Mr. Pierre, and I will go. When you look at the amount of people that was registered to vote, you had 86,658 persons. And only 60,630 people vote. There was 26,028 undecided voters. So I want to know why these people didn't vote. I know they're going to be measures. People might travel. Others may not, because of religious consequences, they may not vote. But I wonder why all this amount of people didn't go out and vote. Yeah. That's what I wanted to say.
Thank you, Carl. Well, it's democracy at work. You could vote for A, you could vote for B, or you could don't vote. That is why, and if you go back throughout Grenada history, you're going to see a significant percentage of people don't vote. So when these things over the last 5 years, this was used so much that I was wondering, you know. And I think it's important. I have been around following the politics and studying the electoral process from 1984. And all election in Grenada was free and fair. On every occasion, the supervisor of election and his team did an excellent job. Every year, every electoral process, they improve. We have to have confidence in our people. Our people don't have to come from Europe, or America, or China, or Russia, or Japan before we have confidence in them. We tear down our people. We have a call on the line. We tear down our people. We insult them. We call them corrupt, traitors, without no evidence. And when we're done, we turn on some people. We call them eat-a-food people. I have been in some interaction with some of the czars on social media, and they're quick to call you dunce. And when they hear you have a briefcase, a certificate like them, they say you take bribe. We have to have respect for one another. How could you call in people eat-a-food people? Handout. Going to give handout. What we're doing is destroying our people. Some people in Grenada afraid to tell you where they work, because they're looking for a status job. Even if the job pays less, some people prepare to have it. Simply because we have a habit of trying to destroy one another. You think it's easy to be somebody in the electoral process? I've heard these people over and over say follow the law. Went over and over the issue. They could never please the party that lose. But this time I'm very happy that the NNP that lost the election and won 6 seats is not accusing anybody of going in Haiti, or accusing everybody of Obia, or chastising the people in the electoral process. And that is a good start. It's a good way to start. I've listened to some of the ministers speak. I happened to listen to Pierre. I happened to listen to this sister from Sotes. She was a principal in school in SAS, where she congratulated the side that win. I listened to Pierre, said, this is God work. One side have to win, one side have to lose. As she tried to cheer up our people, not accusing the electoral process. We must start from there. And people who are involved, in the electoral process, I appeal to you. Don't behave as our lawyers in Grenada. The Bar Association have never intervened to settle conflicts in Grenada. Not prior to not in 1974, not in 1976. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Yeah.
Yes, caller, welcome.
How are you?
Great, man.
Right. You hear me good, eh?
Yes, I hear you now.
Right. Yeah, well, as you rightly say, now is not the time to pull down and to criticize. Now because, I mean,
you might have to pump up your voice a little and put your phone closer.
Election come, right? You hear me better now?
Yeah.
Election come and gone, and this is time for us to pull together and work together. Criticizing and pulling down each other, that doesn't really make no sense. Nobody gets nowhere with that. And we must, and it's one to win, one to lose. The party that was in power, I mean, the thing about it is, look, they couldn't stay there forever. Whether it's 10 years from now, whether it's 5 years from now, whether it's 15 years, 20 years, 5 years from now, or whatever, they couldn't stay there forever. At some point, right, they must have come out of there. So the point about what is the big deal then? I mean, what are you making fuss about?
I am on the issue of the electoral process.
I know, but
you see, if we are satisfied that the electoral process in Grenada is good, we must say that. This is a good start.
Yes.
To start rather than every time somebody loses, the system is toned down. I am happy on this occasion. I'm not hearing people tearing on the system. So I say it's a good time.
It is good and it is fair, and we have to accept whatever it is, because according to you, as you rightly said a couple of minutes ago, I mean, you've been following it for a couple of years now, and it is square and fair. So the thing about it is we have to accept it for what it is, and we must stop pulling down and criticizing each other, because at the end of the day, we all have to work together, and we all are one people. Grenada belongs to all of us, and we have to work together to build this country, and pulling down and criticizing each other, that doesn't work, and that doesn't work good for us, and at the end of the day, nobody gets nowhere with that. So I just want to appeal to those who lost, accept defeat, and and feel satisfied. It was fair and square, and those who coming into office, congratulations, and let's all work together, and before I leave, there should be no victimization, right? Don't think about criticizing and victimizing nobody, because today you in and tomorrow you out. Thank you.
Thank you, Colin. And this is why I believe that the people who are involved in the electoral process, you must open your mouth. Don't stay silent. The presiding officers in every constituency. Yes, caller, welcome. No, caller? Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, sir.
Go right ahead.
Yeah, well, I was trying to get you a while, but...
We had a technical challenge.
First of all, I say, well, I would like to congratulate the new government, because we have no other choice there.
You always have choice. You could don't congratulate them. But that is not a good choice to exercise.
But unfortunate, because I heard you make that statement before. I was speaking to, this morning I heard some political people, activists of the NDC were speaking, and someone was telling them at home, they were saying, why you all vote as a government or as performing? The gentleman said they was looking for opposition. So by looking for opposition, the government get votes out.
Well, there is a good strategy in politics.
You feel so?
Yes. If you're going to say you're winning all the 15 seats, I'm going to campaign and say vote for opposition. It's a good strategy.
So I am saying now to the National Democrat, they get governance and they get opposition, because they have been saying all the months they want the opposition. Well,
so they got all what they wanted.
So they get all what they want. They get governance and they get opposition. So I want to know what next, because they asked for that.
Well, it might be better for the country.
It will. It should.
If you have a strong opposition and then you have a strong government, it makes lively debate.
Yes.
And it puts the government on their toes. Some people believe that the NNP had a free run before 10 years, 2 terms, because there was no opposition.
They did have
So maybe it's a good thing now. And the democratic system is alive and well. You remember, I think you that remind me that Winston White, what year it was?
in 1972.
In 1972.
He lost by one.
He lost by 1 vote.
1 vote, yeah.
And God checked for about 5 days. Still 1 vote. So the electoral process in Grenada, would you agree, was always free and fair?
Yes.
And that is why Maurice Bishop was not able to challenge any irregularities in court.
Yes.
Right?
So I think it was a good process here.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense now, people wishing the government bad.
No. You have to wish the government succeed. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, caller.
Okay.
Yes, and from 1972, irrespective of all the rumors, the propaganda, we have a caller in the line. Caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome. But we lost that caller. Try again. Irrespective of all the propaganda you have been hearing, the electoral process in Grenada have always been free and fair. From 1972. When I listen to people talk about the electoral process, they have chastised supervisor for the election. They have criticized presiding officers. They have blasted the system. They have stand up publicly and manufacture lies. Bishop had a barrage of lawyers and they never could have got a chance. Yes, caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome. Okay, sorry. Irrespective of the barrage of lawyers, they never could have found any irregularity of substance to challenge it in court. They knew election was always free and fair. But because they lost the election, or when they lose the election, they would say irregularity. And Bishop conducted an illegal coup d'etat. It was not necessary. It was not justified. They stood in a lab and made propaganda, disfigure the truth. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome.
Well, that's the thing I want to.
Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah, actually, I want to congratulate
You might have to raise your voice a little for me.
Yeah, I want to congratulate Deacon Mitchell. And you see, the thing about it, I looked at him and I knew that when I look at the quality.
And you made this statement on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I suspected that. And I want to say congratulations to all of the winners, because they're all winners. And I also want to say, because let me tell you something, Mr. Pierre, I have a problem with people. You want to bash me because I think outside the box. Now, as far as I am concerned, Deacon Mitchell, Keith Mitchell, and all the people who elected us, the former members of government and those to come, are public servants. They are legislators, and they have to take an oath to serve the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. We are paying their salaries. They come to us for a job to manage an estate called Grenada, and as such, we employ them, and they are accountable to us because we are paid their salary. And what I used to dig hard with Keith Mitchell for is that, with due respect to him, because when you say Keith Mitchell, people don't respect, but that is his name.
Your voice is going on again.
Right. What I have a problem is that it's the forms of governance and accountability have a problem. You ask, what is the national debt? They're telling you debt to GDP. You don't know, everything you're asking a question, they're not answering. So I am saying to the new government coming on, whoever, to both sides. Now, I'm bashing one side. You are accountable to us. Now, anything that you do for us, we have a tradition that is common courtesy that we thank you. But we don't have to thank you. You build a road, we have to thank you. You build a school. That is what you're paying you because that's what we pay tax for. You're not doing us a favor. And as such, I would love to see, because that was a hallmark of Keith Mitchell, accountability. Because we don't know who is the post office, who owns the post office. There's other things that we are answering. So I'm saying to you, I want to wish you, and number two, you see, I think what really happens, NNP underestimated that guy.
Okay.
Young and experienced and all this sort of a thing. You know, you cannot.
But you must understand, when you campaign, the politicians attack one another. And there are some things that the politicians will say that any group would come to the same thing.
Right, but the bottom line is that they had this thing, pay pants, which I don't have a problem with because that's a campaign slogan. But so much things about a guy, and that guy comes from no way, you would say, and just troll Keith Mitchell. You cannot take, that must be a lesson, all these people must learn, that you cannot take people's time. You have to be nice to people, listen to people, don't play you some god or the other, and remember, on both sides, that the people are paying your salary, and you are accountable, and you are a servant. Deacon Mitchell, right now, you are the chief public servant. Keith Mitchell was the same thing. So is Mia Motley and all these people, and try. I don't find that people should make any of them feel that they're some god, because they are ordinary people. They will die. They go to the toilet, and I find that people just kind of make these people feel like some god. No, this thing must stop. Honorable and this and that.
No, you must have some measure of respect for people.
That is
and it's not them. In all fairness, they were not the one that set the precedent.
Right.
These precedents are there for years.
Right.
And you must have some level of respect for people.
With due respect to you, my friend, all I'm saying to you, if you call somebody by the name, like, okay, let's not deal with, okay, you're a politician, right? And I call you by your name. Once I don't disrespect you and curse you, I can call you by your name because that is the name on your birth paper. I don't have a problem with
But I don't think politicians just vex if you call them by the name.
some of them.
But if you want to come in, they may not ignore you. Because if you're not courteous, I function, and if I find you not courteous, I just ignore you.
Exactly. That's not, well, you say not courteous, but as far as I'm concerned, if I call somebody by the name, I do not disrespect them. I respect everybody under the sun, Mr. Pierre. I respect people from top to the bottom, whether you're a street cleaner, and I don't see no difference between...
Well, that's a whole different sense of opinion. I believe that sometimes you have to show some respect to people. And all institutions have it. That's why they call capping, and you might then say cap. So if a man in the cricket field, he will say captain. Or he say, people show respect. Grandpa, grandma, auntie.
Right, well, okay, but I respect your position, but I don't have to agree. I don't have to agree.
No, you don't have to agree,
So I'm saying to you, if I call you by your name, that is the name on your birth paper. I know it.
And I don't think a smart politician would bother with you. They're going to just ignore you.
Exactly. So I don't disrespect any politician or no member of the public or nobody. But what I'm saying to you is that I just want all and sundry on both sides to put in the pipe.
Yes, caller. Thank you very much.
Right.
Yes. Somebody said Bernadette Sanders guys know he's a loser, but he should have started paying the pension before. We could talk. Well, we don't have an issue with pension again because the present government say they will pay the pension. So pension is history now. That will be paid. You don't have to have a problem with that. Yes, I make the point today and particularly put emphasis on the electoral process. I believe that the individuals involved in the electoral process continue to do an exceptionally good job. And I believe the presiding officers, the poll clerks, the agents of the NNP and the NDC must be a mouthpiece for the electoral process. Never again, unjustifiably, we should be attacking an electoral process that has been good, fair, for decades. From 1972, Winston White lost election by 1 vote, and irrespective of all the checking, 1 vote. Prime, a lawyer in Karakou, lost by 6 votes. He made all kind of monkey about challenging it. He never did. All governments who lost election conceded within 24 hours and has never challenged it in court. Yet, we bash the electoral process mercilessly. This is a good time, since the NNP is not bashing the electoral process, for us to start to flaunt the integrity of the electoral process. It is good. And I have been around it since 1984. And I've been following it. And I've always been saying that ignore the comments you have been hearing. Because some of the statements I've been making on social media, I think this is another issue to deal with another day. And we're glad we come to the end of the program today, and we want to apologize for some of the technical challenges that we had, and for those who didn't get on to the program, and we started a few seconds late too. So we want to apologize for that. And we hope we're back with you tomorrow again as we continue our program on target. Thank you.
From many distant lands, our forefathers came, some seeking adventure, some bound in chains. Through battles waged and fought, through victory and pain, by test of their courage, or free.
Triple N. Informative, entertaining, and first. Every hour on the hour.
This is the latest news update produced by Triple N. Details when we get back.
The Rotary Club's